Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these coins. We'll have a look at some of the top cap altcoins and obviously Bitcoin and a few other bits and bobs. But before we go any further, I'm going to make some changes to my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I've noticed that I've got so much spam going on, so many scammers on my comments, and there's even somebody that's basically copied my name and my logo and is pretending to be me, offering some form of investment scam basically. So I'm going to disable my comments, maybe for maybe indefinitely. But if you do want to get in contact with me, I do have a Telegram chat, so you can join that, and we're all in there just chatting away and stuff. I'm never going to be asking anybody for any money, so just to put that out there, that's just nothing I would ever do. I don't have a manager, I don't have any kind of investment plan that I will ask you to join in on. But for the moment, I'm just going to take my comments away from the channel. It's probably going to hurt my channel a little bit, so I would appreciate you liking and subscribing anyway, because the algorithm is probably going to take a bit of a hit because of all these scammers. I mean, it's just gone crazy. But just to let you know, I will be doing that. And actually, before we go any further, if you do want to set up a new Binance account, or if you don't have a Binance account already, I do have this link here, so you can. This is also in the description below. Set yourself an account up, and you will get 20% off all your fees for life. So if you already have a Binance account, you can simply just open a new one. I've got multiple ones. The first one I ever set up as with all my ID and things like that. That allows me to buy and sell with fiat currency, but you can set up multiple Binance accounts with just a new email address and a Google authentication code. Anyway, that's enough. Let's actually have a look at some coins then, shall we? So Bitcoin basically breaking down yesterday, significant breakdown actually. If you look at it from top to bottom, that was a full retrace of that Bollinger Band. So it hadn't even pinched that tight, and this is what we got. So basically a 7%. We're basically bumping around at the bottom levels again here. So yesterday when we saw this, I did say that the chances are that we will break down to test this green 50 exponential, which was also the 10 exponential on the daily, which is where we came down to test, and I said that that's where we're likely to bounce. Now, in this situation as a bull market, technically, so long as we're above the 10 exponential, I'm pretty much bullish. In all fairness, so long as we're even above the 20 simple moving average, which is the center of the Bollinger Band, I'm also bullish. So that coming in at around about 20,300 or so. So all these areas, so long as they are not taken out, I'm still bullish. But at the moment, I do believe we are coming into the season of profit taking. So I think that I'm not saying that we're going to break down significantly from here, but there is a chance that we do break down further. Excuse me. And if we do break down further, what are the targets for that? Well, I think we just basically whizzed through them just then. Essentially, the first target is always going to be this 10 exponential. Breaking down from the 10 exponential would cause a bit more of a mighty dump all the way down to this bad boy here. There's around about 20,300. Probably get front run on that ever so slightly. I don't think we'll be breaking down beneath that, but if we were to, we're basically going to get caught probably at 20,000. A nice big round figure, and then we'll have to reassess the situation from there to see if we're going to get bearish retests of these exponentials. At the moment we are still above them, but if we were to break down beneath them, what we'd be looking for would be for obviously the bounce to take place, which it would, and then to see if we get rejections on these guys here, and that's when we would know if the momentum if the direction has changed basically, and then we can start either taking profits ourselves, buying dips and selling these tops, or we can even start shorting these tops as well. But for the moment, we are technically all still bullish on this one, provided we're above this 10 exponential moving average, coming in at just below 22,000 as of today. Obviously, it was a bit lower than that yesterday. It's still upwards facing, so every day that goes by that we're above it, we are still making higher lows if we were to come down to use that as support. So that's how I see that one. When we're looking at some of these other indicators, everything else looks pretty good to me. We're still not we're not overbought. We're still bullish, even though that the histogram is ticking down on the daily. Now this tells a different story on the 4-hourly. We see basically moving into bearish territory. However, the RSI is relatively low, but it can obviously come down lower than this, a great deal lower than this if it wanted to. But that would suggest that if we did do that, we'll be looking to probably test the lower range of the $19,000 area, basically coming down to test this exponential moving average itself, or this blue box territory, which comes in at basically 20,000 to as low as 19,360 thereabouts. That's all there really is to Bitcoin at the moment, and we are being rejected on the 4 hourly, on the 10 exponential, so that's not a good sign in itself. But there isn't really anything to say that we're going to break above it and push above it anytime soon. I think what we're seeing now is another consolidation phase after this top that could end up with another dump. But is that going to happen today? Not really sure, but it does appear that this could quite easily be the top for now for this year, but we'll have to see how this works its way out. What I would say is on the daily we're okay, and we might be playing a sideways range maybe for a few days, basically dancing between the areas of these moving averages. Basically the 7 simple moving averages around about 22,900 we'll call it, and the 10 exponential moving average, which is 21,900, so about $1,000 range there. And if we do dance around within this range for a prolonged period of time, we might end up seeing some more movement with the alts. But looking at the alt, what we're looking at here, the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are at the top of this descending channel. This is make or break for alts really, because it's not just the descending channel that we're at the top of, we're also bumping our head on the green 50 exponential. So if we do not break down from this level, and if we break out of this level, it's going to be really nasty for altcoins. And at the moment we're seeing a lot of weakness in altcoins. Look at the XRP here, we'll have a look at that. Very, very weak on the 4 hourly. In fact, I could probably argue that, that if we do not pump from here, the way that these moving averages are looking, it would suggest that we will get a death cross. And the prophecy that I've set in a long time back now, which was after this pump we'll find our top, and then we will eventually come back down to test the 200 exponential moving average. That's generally how this is likely and supposed to play out. This is how this one played out. That we had this nice big pump, and it was a nice big pump, a really good one, and then consolidated back down to the 200 exponential moving average, essentially a retrace of give or take 30%. Obviously it was a bit more than that if we came down here, but that was a bigger that wasn't as big of a pump as the last one. So if this is the accumulation zone, we'll measure it from the time when we reclaimed the 50 exponential moving average. It's a 70% move with a 30% retrace. Okay, so this one is going to be different, so you're going to see much bigger moves. Again, this is a volatile coin, so we'll measure it from where we reclaimed the 50 exponential moving average. That was a 217% move from that level there, and if we were to come back down, that would be a 57% retrace. So those kind of margins are kind of very similar. In fact, I'd probably say that this one, despite coming down, if it were to come down 57% from its high, the gains would still be in your favor if you'd have picked it up at these lower levels. But again, that's just the nature of the beast. This is the altcoin beast, and XRP, this is how it does it. The good thing is, for those who like this coin, is that this is the area to be buying it at. And I don't mean buy it as soon as it hits it. We're looking for an accumulation period around this level, and whether it happens or not, it would be the next place, and the only place that I'd feel comfortable buying it back at. Looking at this chart, doesn't really look good at all. It does actually look like it wants to fall off a cliff, but definitely oversold on the 4 hourly here on the RSI, and much further drop on the money flow index would indicate a pump as well. So I've been wrong about this one before, but personally, we did our move. We, as in me, I did my move on XRP. I'll continue to look at it, and I'll only buy back in when I feel that it's a comfortable and more appropriate way. Not saying that it can't pump from here. Last time we were at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, like this one, we did pump, and we pumped massively. But this also pumped with Bitcoin. Bitcoin pumped. We pumped 40. Or basically 50% from there the last time we're down at this level. We might do that again, but it would require Bitcoin to do something as well. We might get a move out of it. For me, I'll leave this one alone for the moment. I'll buy back at a more appropriate time, especially when alts, this could be not the death, but it could could quite easily be a very nasty situation for altcoins if we broke out of this channel to the up. We'd have to look at other areas where we could possibly see rejections. But really, we should be getting a rejection now. We've got a nasty rejection at this level here. Historically, we've been rejected at the top of this channel. We've been rejected and kept beneath the green 50 exponential. So we should be getting rejected here. But things are different. We can't look at everything in the same way. And there are some other areas, some other things that make me think otherwise. And on the weekly, we have an Ichimoku Cloud conversion baseline cross. We have the MACD crossing over into the 0 point. So those two things into themselves, they are kind of worrying for altcoins and the health of altcoins. So unless we get something happening, it would have to be this week or next. We're going to come into next year with a fair bit more red on altcoins before there's an opportunity for it to bounce. And then when it does bounce, it will clearly bounce. Altcoins don't just die off completely, but they do, and they are at the moment showing significant weakness, as we can see with XRP. We also have the same kind of vibe going on here, I think, don't we? Not quite as weak as XRP, but definitely looking to come down to test this 200 exponential on the 4 hourly and crossing into the 0 point, so that is not good. RSI could definitely come down further, so could the money flow index. Let's have a look at the daily on this one. Daily holding only just, actually that's not too bad, but only just above the center of the Bollinger Band, breaking down beneath here. We will see an Ethereum probably come down to the mid to just below the mid $500 mark. So Ethereum also looking pretty nasty. We've also got a cross here take place on the MACD there. Lower highs on the old RSI there, so that's not good either. Losing these two is a big deal because these two take up such a large portion of the market cap. So if these two go down, it's going to bring down altcoins in general. There will be a few here and there that aren't affected, clearly, because they all have their own fundamentals and their own charts, but generally as a whole, if these two girls, if these two coins take a plunge, then it's going to be significant for all the other altcoins. Most other altcoins will go down at the same rate or there in between. They're basically, XRP amplifies any kind of move that Bitcoin or Ethereum does. So if Ethereum dumps 5%, I would expect to see XRP dump 10%, and then vice versa on the pumps back up at this stage. But yeah, it's not looking very good. And the only reason I brought EOS up is because EOS did have a really good chart to be trading, but it would appear that chart is invalid now, I would say, and it's not the chart that it could have been. Now things can obviously turn around at any point, but we were looking at this in a few different ways. We were looking at this, first of all, coming out of a consolidation phase, going into an accumulation phase, which is what technically we are still in right now. We had a golden cross take place here, but it was relatively weak, and now it looks as though that golden cross could easily go back into a death cross. We saw a move like this before. We had a golden cross take place here, but the move basically had already been made. We came down to test it, rallied again from the test, and then broke down beneath it and death cross and stayed beneath it, making a low around about $2.20, which is essentially the target that I would have if we were to break down beneath this, and then we'd have to forget all about EOS until we come back out of this zone again. So things are looking a bit dicey for EOS here. On the 4 hourly, again, we had a golden cross, but it was relatively weak. We had one here. We pumped from that. You could argue that this was the incoming cross that caused this pump, but now, descending into the depths of, maybe even to test this trend line here, we're going to get a death cross if we can't move ourselves above areas of $2, and we'll call it $2.95. We really need to get above there, otherwise we will get that death cross and it will bring us down even further. One thing we were looking at here, which isn't going to be visible, I believe, on this chart, was we were waiting for, it is visible actually, this Ichimoku Cloud cross. We were looking for this to take place on a weekly, and there was a very strong chance that it would have done, but you see this blue did not cross that red. We wanted that to happen. If that happened on this weekly chart, then things would have been much better and much brighter, in my opinion. I would have invested a lot heavier into EOS, but it didn't happen, and it's not happened yet, so we're going to have to wait. And in fact, they're actually just diverging away from each other, so without a bit more of a pump in price, and again we need to get above areas like $3, $3.15. We need to get above areas like that and stay there for this cross to even try to take place. Now, as far as other indicators go on the weekly, I'm okay with the way that it kind of looks. Most of the alts that I've been looking at don't look like they want to move significantly until I'd say about mid-January is when I'm looking for some of these moves. So it is worth me trying to pick up and accumulate some of these alts at these low levels. And I'm talking, I suppose, EOS, Algo, FET, Holochain, and Ocean. So I'm picking up a lot of those at these kind of low levels, and could quite easily see them at even lower levels, to be honest. But accumulating them for what I consider to be a bit of a decent pump coming into next year, around mid-January or so. And most of these charts, on these small cap coins, offer the same kind of chart. Some better than others, but all of them basically saying that they're going to have a bit more freedom to run into January next year. So mid to late January, I would have expected that move to have begun, or just to be pretty much ready to go. But much of that all depends on the nature of Bitcoin and what Bitcoin wants to do. Again, as I said yesterday, in the video, that December often you do find profit taking across the board with all assets, all asset classes, stocks, commodities, cryptocurrencies, and so that is going to be what's happening, especially since we just put in a brand new all-time high. It would not surprise me at all. And do not get too comfortable with thinking that Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million or something. I know a lot of us are having this discussion on my Telegram chat about the all-time price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and people are saying that my expectations are too low. Well, it's nice to have low targets, I suppose, because that way you always get surprised if it surpasses them. But also, I've been trading cryptocurrencies for several years now. Starting, I suppose, technically back in 2016. So I've been doing it for quite a while now, and what I have to say is you have to expect diminishing returns for top cap coins, right? So with or without this institutional money that's coming into Bitcoin, there's no point in institutions buying loads of Bitcoin if they're not going to sell it for profit. Everyone's going to have their different targets. They're not going to be looking to sell it at the very peak. That would be pretty much impossible, because these guys are essentially whales. They cannot realize a full stack of Bitcoin. If they invested $500 million into Bitcoin at 10,000, they are not going to be able to sell that if Bitcoin reached 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 400,000. It wouldn't work. That realized value wouldn't work. They're going to be selling bits here, bits there, bits here, bits there. I mean, these guys are already 100% in profit. Okay, that's a big deal for any hedge fund or institutional investment. So people are going to take profits along the way, and with that, you will see diminished returns as far as Bitcoin's concerned. Just because some of these coins did 100x last cycle doesn't mean they're going to do it now. In order for that to happen, there needs to be a phenomenal amount of money go into it for it to raise the price that much. These wicks and these candles don't move without phenomenal amounts of money. This time around, we do have leverage attached to these trades, and you've got some of that, I suppose, at the end of 2017 into 18. But generally speaking, we've had leverage since then, and it's not done it a great deal of favours. And the vast majority of money that's involved in Bitcoin is still Tether. It's still over 40% Tether. The institutional investments, they do take up a portion, but the majority of the money that's propping up the price of Bitcoin and other coins is Tether based. So just bear all that in mind. So it's all very well knowing about these institutional investments and more retail coming into the market, but it's not as big as you probably think it is. It is big and it's good and it will inflate the price, but I would argue that a lot of the price has been inflated not by the institutional investment and the added retail, but the concept of that investment, not the actual investment itself. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, and I'll like I say, I'm going to have to turn off the comments on this video and my videos from now on, just to stop these scammers. But yeah, join my Telegram chat. I'd love to see you there. There's plenty of us in there now, all chatting away about all kinds of stuff. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.